Welcome to Deges Dragons.
I thought this was going to be hard.
Welcome to Deges Dragons.
Who wants some of the Ripper?
They're state champs, baby. Woo!
He's totally captain. I'm a man of the people.
Shattered world.
Ripper knows. Ripper always knows. Degecast.
And welcome to another episode of the Degecast, the supplemental podcast for our YouTube show, Deges and Dragons. I'm your host, Nate Lindberg, and you can follow me on Twitter at Nate Lindberg. And while you're floating around the Twitterverse, you can follow the show at Degetime. You know, it's crazy to me to think that Season 1 of Deges and Dragons will be coming close in just a few weeks' time here. It seems like it was just yesterday that Conrad and I were filming the first episodes of the show in this basement, not knowing if these games are actually going to see the light of day. But, you know, we overcame quite a few technical obstacles when we were filming in person. We overcame another obstacle head-on after the onset of the pandemic when we switched the format of the show from in-person and around a table to a little bit more of a challenging one for the basis and the premise of the show, but to a virtual one for Project Biomodus and the last game that we will be playing in Season 1. And that game is Tiny Frontiers. It is a sci-fi space adventure RPG where Conrad is going to be leading us on a zany, wacky, and crazy adventure across the universe. Now, Tiny Frontiers might be the last game in Season 1, but it'll be the first to follow yet another format change. Another format change, you ask? Well, you know, one thing we've heard from a number of you guys is our episodes are, they're just a little bit too long. Trying to digest a 60 to 80 minute video each week isn't always easy, and it's even turned some people away from watching. So, starting with Tiny Frontiers on Friday, January 15th, our episodes will not only be approximately 20 to 25 minutes in length, but we're also going to start giving you guys 2 of them each week. That's right, 1 episode on Friday and another one on Monday. 2 episodes of your favorite Deges every week. Now, as we wind down the first season, I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a chat with some of the developers from these games, catch up with them, their projects, and what they're doing, and really chat about whatever else we wind up chatting about. So, kicking off this developer-focused series of Degecasts with me tonight from It's Never Dark Enough, the creators of Shattered. His name is Josh, but they call him Zip. Zip, you know, I believe this makes you the first ever 3-time guest on the Degecast.
Woo!
Right?
Yeah.
I had to go back, and I think that is correct. I think you are the first 3-time champion of the Degecast.
That's super exciting. I will cherish that.
Thank you for coming down, and well, not coming down. It's a Zoom call, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
the Zoom call and chatting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations on wrapping up the first season, or approaching the wrap up of the first season. Depending on when this airs, and I think it's definitely a good call that you guys are probably shortening the videos. It's going to latch you onto the YouTube algorithm a little bit better. I think that might help drive some stuff.
That was kind of what I was thinking, because like I started to notice that like a lot of the YouTubers that I watch, that you know, a lot of the bigger YouTubers that, you know, millions and millions of subscribers and whatever.
Sure.
You know, their videos are like 18, 20 minutes long. So I was kind of thinking, you know, we'll kind of shorten them up a little bit, and you know, we edited out Tiny Frontier. We didn't plan Tiny Frontiers to be that way. We planned on it, you know, for being like, you know, 45-minute to an hour-long episodes. But Tony gave me a hand, and we were able to chop it up. And
nice.
From now on, we're planning on doing for Season 2. We've already started filming, and we've already kind of planned around doing 20, 25-minute episodes. So I think that's going to work out pretty well.
That'll be great for you guys. I think that will work fantastically.
This is going to be coming out in a few weeks
Sure.
when we're recording this. But as we're recording this is December 18th, 2020. And tomorrow morning, we are actually going to start filming our second series of Shattered.
Bro, are you excited because you're playing?
I am. I'm finally playing the game.
What are you playing? or does Conrad create the characters for you?
So Conrad created the characters. So we have the entire crew from the original series that we did.
Nice.
So all the same players, all the same characters. Trumpet Royale, Mors Glacius,
Excellent.
Flint Edge. I can't remember the other character. And then there's going to be me. It's the first time we're going to actually have 5 people playing.
That'll be fun.
And I'm playing a little bit of spoiler. I'm playing an ellipse.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, no, we're filming that in the morning, and I'm really excited about it. I haven't played this game yet, so I'm pumped.
We're really stoked to see you guys pick up where the story left off. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Conrad's he's kind of told me a little bit about how we're starting anyway, because I guess because that's kind of how my character gets introduced, but he hasn't told me anything else about the story or anything yet. But at least what he's told me so far, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm pumped. Absolutely pumped. So speaking of Shattered, what do you guys got going on over there? Anything new in the Shattered universe that you want to talk about?
Oh boy, I am a man of constant projects. So I work on Shattered. I write my own tabletop RPGs. I write books. I develop games, all kinds of stuff. So I'm plenty busy. But on the Shattered side of things,
and feel free to talk about any and all of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but to start off with, on the Shattered side of things, we've been talking about it for a while, and it's just a little bit slow going because the holidays and our lead editor is moving, so that kind of makes the finalizing of some things kind of difficult until he settles down. But we're hoping to wrap up the 3-chapter free campaign that we've been working on here pretty soon.
Nice.
And I'm just about to dive into getting chapter 2 assembled and InDesign, and then we just need his editing in chapter 3 to wrap that up, and then I can start building it. So that's coming. I'm also working on it. It started off as just project to integrate our current errata into the existing PDF copy of the game.
Sure.
And a long story short, it kind of turned into us developing kind of like the definitive edition of first edition Shattered. So I'm completely rebuilding the book from scratch.
Like redesigning the book and everything.
Yep, redesigning the layouts, adding some new design elements to help kind of clean things up, make it a little bit easier to distinguish, blocks of text from different blocks of text and things like that. Sure. It'll make it a little bit easier to read, make it a little bit more dynamic to look at generally. We're adding new bits of fluff and some new lore, primarily because this is going to be a digital release, at least at first. We're not as concerned about page count as we were before, where page count impacted how much the book actually cost to produce. So now,
fair enough, yeah.
If I've got, I don't need to cram things together to make sure we can afford our books. So if there's a little bit of extra white space at the end of a chapter, well, I let the team know, hey guys, there's, I've got maybe a column, a third of a page of white space in Arcana. Either write me some fluff or write me some new talents or something like that, and we'll get it plugged in. So so we're adding a little bit more. There'll be some, some new talents, some new fluff for the world, some new pieces of art. We're talking to Derek Poole, one of our artists from the initial release, again, to get his help with a couple of pieces.
That's awesome.
And we'll see what happens from there. And that also, is in tandem with the new versions of the character sheets that I just finished putting together. And then, it's also allowed us to kind of take stock of how we built things and see if there's any fine tuning we want to do to help, make things work a little bit better.
Sure.
And it's also allowed us to kind of re-examine all of the systems as a whole. We don't talk about it much, but we've got this big wish list of things that we want to do for second edition when the time comes. And this has kind of helped us sort out, like, okay, what things can we simplify to make things a bit smoother, make, combat and rolling a bit faster, make the crunchiness a little bit easier to work with. What are some things we can do in, say, Conviction, for example, which are kind of like our clerics in D&D for anyone who doesn't know the game. What are some ways we can help make them fit more in line with our general theme of giving players a lot of customization? So it's pretty much giving us an opportunity to really put this into the forge again, hammer out any of the remaining impurities, and then have a definitive edition before we move on to our first expansion and hopefully second edition after that.
That's awesome. And I mean, from everything I've seen, I haven't physically held the copy of the game, but of the book, but going through the PDF, I mean, it already looks great. It already looks very, very professionally done and very well done. So, I can only imagine what you're going to do with the book and you kind of clean it up. I'm looking forward to seeing it and a lot of the new, for me, the artwork. I love the artwork, especially the artwork that you guys have. Actually, I guess today is a good day to even talk about this because today is my sister's birthday.
Oh,
and
well, happy birthday!
Happy birthday to my sister Heather, who will actually be playing her first game ever, her first tabletop game ever. She's going to be joining us for Teens in Space in season 2.
Oh, very nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, and that all came about because of the artwork in your game.
No way, really?
Yeah. So my sister and I wouldn't say we were estranged per se, but because we really weren't. But we were my sister and I. Growing up, we were super super close and kind of strained relationship over the past maybe 4 or 5 years, and but we kind of started to reconcile. One night, we got on a Zoom call. We were talking for. I think we talked for 4 or 5 hours, and I started telling her a little bit about this project and everything. And she's an artist.
Oh wow, very nice.
So she does some graphic design, but she also you give her some paints or charcoals or whatever medium she decides to work with, and she's incredible. So I started showing her some of the artwork from your game, and Project Biomodus in particular.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Lokeren Market, if that's she absolutely loved that, and I started trying to I kind of started explaining the game, some of the lore to her, the undead tide and things like that, and she got really hooked into the story, and she's like she wanted to see if we could fit her into a game. And Shattered, we already had 5 people with me playing, so I told her about the couple of the other games we're playing, Teens in Space, and she latched onto that, and she's gonna dive into her first role playing experience. And
nice, that's exciting. Yeah. That's really cool. And shout out to hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Rhys Griffiths, who did the artwork for the Lokeren Market and one other.
Yeah, and big shout out, That's probably one of my favorite pieces in the book. And
it's up there.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pick out a favorite, but it's definitely up there.
Both of his are some of my favorites. Absolutely. He also did the Gray Shade Tavern.
Oh, okay. I actually used the Gray Shade Tavern as a Zoom background at work. Everyone.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a little Easter egg in there. A cool story I'll tell you about. If you look at the Gray Shade Tavern art piece on the right-hand side, you'll see in the back, pinned to the wall, there's a wanted poster there, and that the character on that wanted poster is a piece of, it's official now because it's in a canon art piece, but it was a piece of fan art that a wonderful friend of ours, also Shattered artist, and developer in his own right, Bear Winters, did when he took Shattered to KublaCon a few years back.
Oh.
He developed, he did all the character creation. He ran Shattered table with one of our developers there at the convention all weekend. He got in it was like 6 or 8 games over the course of the weekend.
That's awesome.
And we got a lot of fantastic feedback from it. But he also did the artwork for all the player characters, and that was the favorite one of ours that he did. And as prior to knowing that he was going to, launch off on his own quest to develop a tabletop RPG, we wanted to give him a nod and thank him in a way. So we plugged in the art of our favorite character that he created on a wanted poster in that piece as an Easter egg for him.
That's fantastic. I'm looking at it right now. I just pulled up the artwork. I had it saved on my machine, and no, that's cool. And I can tell it's Bears. I can tell it's Bears.
Yeah. It's even shrunk down as it is. He's got such a distinctive style.
He really does.
I really want the man to do a graphic novel, but I know it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, he would be the art for that would be incredible. He did all the art, or he did character art for all of the characters that we did for Project Biomodus.
Very nice.
So right now, actually all of the thumbnails for all the thumbnails for the Project Biomodus series, those are our characters that he drew for us. And JT, who's JT's part of our Deges Time community, but he also played in the Project Biomodus series, kind of talked Bear into doing it. And well, I wouldn't say talk Bear. He asked him to do it, and Bear was like, "Yeah, absolutely." He was all for it. But yeah, it came out great. So did he? You said he did all the character art for, he drew all the characters for the book, or was it for a campaign that you guys were doing?
He drew all of the player character art for the campaign he was running at KublaCon that year.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. And he also did a bunch of our monster art in the book.
Okay, yeah, I knew he did some of the art in the book. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We're going to be talking, or actually, I don't know if Bear doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to be doing an interview with him soon. We got. He's actually going to be because how we do our therapeutic wrap up at the end of each game. We actually haven't shot the one for Project Biomodus yet.
Oh, yeah.
And as of right now, that's due in 3 weeks. It's supposed to come out at the end of episode 6, and I haven't finalized that yet because we haven't shot it. But we're going to actually have Bear sit in with us on the therapeutic wrap up for it. And
very nice.
I'm going to steal him for about 20 minutes to do one of these. So he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be on he's going to be on another episode of the Degecast coming up. So.
It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I love you guys, and I love everyone I've met through this venture and creating Shattered, but Bear is by far one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, hands down. And like you said, I've met met you guys, met quite a few people now at this point, through this and through Bear for that matter. Actually,
yeah,
he's gotten us a couple connections, but Bear's been like one of our biggest supporters. It's been great. Now, so you said you had a couple other projects that you were working on as well,
I do a lot of stuff. It's actually somewhat appropriate given the context of what you guys do. I'm not actually diagnosed, even though I probably should go talk to somebody about it to get it official, but I'm fairly certain that I have actual diagnosable depression. Like everybody who deals with it, go through a number of very, very dark times. And one of the things that I found to kind of help myself, and fortunately this was not a negative self-medication or anything like that, I found that if I keep a lot of projects on my project board, so to speak,
yep.
I I stay too busy to get incredibly depressed and then, start considering choices that I might otherwise regret. So I'm constantly keep like doing things, even if it's just a note in Evernote of an idea that hit me on my way home from work. I jot it down, and I usually come back around to it within a few weeks to flesh it out into something that I'll remember, months or years from now, when I'm looking for something new to develop. So I've got a sci-fi horror novel called Run Like Hell that's currently in the beta reading phase. And that was actually kind of fun because I've been working on that for a couple of years, and I've had a number of people who wanted to beta read for me, but they worked in areas where they couldn't easily access Google Docs. And for some people, it was just difficult because Google Docs is great, but trying to load a 300-page document on your phone is not really conducive to anything. So I went and created a beta read hard copy, and ordered like 10 of them from Lulu. And the quality came out really nice, and shipped them around to all my beta readers that needed a hand.
Nice.
So that was a lot of fun. And I'm hoping maybe, I might be able to have that published by, sometime in 2021. That would be fantastic. I've actually got a buddy who started a sci-fi fantasy publishing company over the course of this year. So
that's awesome.
I might have it in there. We'll see. I've got other books started, but nowhere near anything that I can actually discuss. I started developing a rules light tabletop RPG called Pulp, which is all about pulp adventure, pulp sci-fi, classic like hard-boiled detective noir fiction. And it's kind of the thing that inspired it was The Mummy, and I'm talking about the good one from 1999 with Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
And my wife and I love that film. It's one of those movies that it's not a good movie per se, but
I love that movie.
It's
too.
just the right amount of fun that it hits every note perfectly, and you can just watch it over and over again. So we had, I think it was Halloween a couple years ago, maybe last year. We watched it, and I was just like, I really love the pulp genres, and I was like, how do I make The Mummy into a tabletop game? And I was really trying to think about it. So I wound up brainstorming for a few days, and I have most of the rule set written. I just need to finish writing up how the bad guys and their side of things work, and then I'll be looking to play test that, and then I've started developing a card game called Off Plots, which is kind of inspired by, I forget what the hashtag is actually called, but there's a hashtag that had been trending on Twitter for a while, called, I think it's like describe a film plot badly or something like that.
Okay.
And I think I have an example here. Like, and the idea is to, it may not exactly pinpoint what the movie is by reading the plot, but once you know what it is, it fits.
Sure. Makes sense.
So like young man discovers the joys of swinging is one that I have in here.
Okay. Let's see. Young man discovers the joys of swinging.
Yeah.
21 Jump Street?
The first Spider-Man movie.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So it goes like that, and it's basically, one person draws a card, and whoever guesses it first based off of the bad plot summary gets the point, and then they pass it on.
It almost reminds you of like charades in a way.
Yeah, kind of, without so much performance, but yeah,
Right,
it basically
exactly.
works that way.
Yeah.
And so it's quick. Hopefully, I'm working with some friends to try and come up with as many as I can get. So far as I know, I haven't seen anybody actually do this. There's one person that tried to do this more specifically based off of the Twitter hashtag a couple of years ago, and he didn't quite make it. So he ended up canceling his Kickstarter campaign. So I'm hoping that I can jump in there with this idea when I get it done, and with my experience from Shattered, put out a really nice polished product that, might go somewhere.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, dude, that sounds awesome. When you put that out, I'm going to get a copy.
Well, thank you.
I can certainly.
You heard it here, folks. First pre-order.
Yep, right here. No, I can certainly see like either my family sitting around playing that, even my parents. Because it's become a thing. We sit around and play Cards Against Humanity, and
oh yeah,
if you knew my parents, like if Conrad and Tony were here, they would be laughing hysterically right now at the thought of my mother playing Cards Against Humanity. Sweet little innocent Judy Lindbergh, and some of the ones she comes out with. But no, I could certainly see us. I mean, not this is along the same lines, Cards Against Humanity, but we've been enjoying sitting around playing cards, and I could certainly see this being a game we'd have a lot of fun with.
I certainly hope so. I mean, some friends of mine and I spent like an entire day while we were at our various offices, just like spitballing things. And it didn't even start out as like, hey, I want to make this game. It was like, hey, describe it. It started out with like, hey, just describe this anime plot badly. And then it just kind of was like, hey, well, let's do movies and TV shows and, video games. And it just, we spent all this time. And at some point I was like, guys, we should make a card game out of this. This would be a really good idea. Because you got your main core of doing movies, and then you could release a TV show pack and an anime pack and a video game pack. All, it basically writes itself right there. So
yeah, absolutely. Different expansions, things like that.
Yep.
100%. Kind of backing up what you were just saying about, kind of keeping yourself inundated with projects and things like that to try and keep out the bad thoughts. No, just, to kind of back you up there. That's the whole reason we're sitting here tonight. Because I've kind of been going through some, I've been going through a little bit of, shiznit in my life.
Man.
And, pull the curtain back a little bit. I know I sound nice and happy right now, but I've been in a bit of a dark spot for a while, and, kind of trying to keep some projects on my plate. And the Degecast was one of those things that we were keeping. It was a weekly thing, and it kind of kept me, I kind of have this one thing I got to make sure I get pumped out weekly here. And even though, we get the YouTube show, I already had like a stash of those episodes cashed up, and, I wasn't actively working on them, but, the Degecast I was. And, so that kind of wasn't weekly, and I kind of, didn't have like a staple in my week that I was editing and working on. So, I kind of decided I'm going to do some solo episodes every once in a while, and, try to keep a couple things on my plate. I get a couple other things cooking. I get a couple other things, a couple little shorts that I'm going to probably be putting up on the Dege Time YouTube channel. So
nice.
Take a look at that. I'm actually staring at Photoshop right now, working on something. I can tell you a little bit I'll tell you about it off air afterwards. I think you'll laugh at it, but I completely 100% hear you there. And I think you're keeping yourself busy is one of those things that definitely helps. I know, I've not officially been diagnosed with depression, but I've certainly been diagnosed with ADD. I think I've talked about it on the show before. And, there's a doctor. He was the guy that diagnosed me with ADD, and he's one of the leading doctors in attention deficit disorder, Dr. Ned Hallowell, and he wrote a book on it and all this stuff. But one of the things he talks about is a thing called the spin cycle, and I can't remember what SPIN stands for offhand, but essentially, like, you kind of get in this cycle of like feeling shameful about not being productive, and because you're not productive, you're upset about it, and because you're upset about it, you're not productive, and you kind of get in this whole cycle of depression. And I found myself in that, so I've decided to kind of stop feeling bad for myself and start start working on some of these projects, projects and things that I've had in the back of my brain. So yeah, definitely backing up what you were saying there about you kind of keeping yourself busy, just kind of throwing that out there into the world, into the void.
God, you're making me think I have ADD. Yeah, I just dug it up because I was curious. It's shame, pessimism, and negativity, isolation, and no creative or productive outlet.
Yep, that's exactly it.
That kind of makes me wonder. And my mother actually has ADD, so it's certainly possible that may be actually what's going on with me.
Yeah,
but to anyone who's listening that struggles with any sort of mental difficulty or mental illness, they're all their own battles, but be proud of them. I certainly wear my weirdness and my, even though it can get bad sometimes, the darkness that I usually has to deal with has become a little bit of a friend as far as I'm concerned, because it's really influenced the way I write and the kind of worlds that I create. So don't be ashamed of it. It's okay.
No, you gotta kind of lean into it, and that's that's something that actually my therapist tells me is that I got to lean into the negative stuff. I got to lean into the dark times, and use that as a learning tool, learning experience. And one of the things that I've started to do myself is started to make music.
Oh, excellent.
And I'm not really I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano and stuff, and I finally learned how to play one song, and that is the theme from Beauty and the Beast with both hands. I can finally do that. Really excited about that.
Awesome.
But I started to trying to make some electronic music and things. Actually for the original Shattered series, our buddy Brian, he actually supplied the soundtrack for that. And I think we're probably going to be working with him to do some music and stuff for Shattered. However, I'm also going to be trying to do some music for Shattered, the second series for Shattered.
Very nice.
The music at the very beginning of this, during my intro tonight, after the Degecast music played, while I was talking for a couple minutes there, that was a song actually I created myself.
Very cool.
Things like that, just creative outlets and stuff like that is especially right now too. I think a lot of people are going through it. A lot of people are going through this right now with just kind of the isolation from the world,
Yep, a lot of people, especially people who are more extroverted and people who are usually out socializing more often and things like that, and that is whether or not they know they have any kind of darkness looming over them, the social life is what keeps that at bay, and now you can't have that. I know I've seen plenty of articles about how depression and anxiety has skyrocketed in the last year. And it's no wonder. But yeah, find hobbies. I mean, you can only play video games for so long before they're boring.
Right.
And there is absolutely nothing like experiencing the creative process.
I agree. I never thought of myself really as a creative person until we started doing Deges Dragons. And I had to start kind of filming or, putting things together and, starting to do graphics and now music and all that. And it's very rewarding to finally see your work being appreciated by other people, even if it's just one person that's like, oh, hey, that was cool. You're like, yeah, that's right. I did that. That was sweet, So definitely well worth kind of putting the controller down and creating something, doing something,
Yeah, that said, I do have to admit I've been wasting my life to video games for the past couple of weeks because I've been absorbed into the world of cyberpunk. But but I knew this was coming. I planned for it. So
right. No, I bought it. I put about 3 or 4 hours into it so far. Maybe a little bit more than that. And I just kind of haven't had a whole lot of time to play, but I do plan on getting back to it very soon. I've been also really stuck on Satisfactory. I've been talking a lot about it with Tex. Tex is also one of the Shattered developers, but I'm talking a lot about it with Tex, and I get a couple of my friends that their boyfriend, girlfriend, and live together. They've been playing, so the three of us have been doing quite a bit of that. But I can't wait to dive back into Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I took Friday off last week, and my wife had some things going on the weekend. I ended up putting about 31 hours in last weekend. That's but I mean, anybody who knows me knows that this was going to happen because I'm obsessed with cyberpunk and as a genre and as a style and dystopia.
Yep.
And I've been in I've been part of the local metal hardcore punk scene for years.
Right.
So like all of that blends together perfectly. So like there was no way I was not going to get sucked into this. But that back to RPGs, it makes me really want to pick up Cyberpunk Red.
Yeah.
Because I want to play it on the table with some dice.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do something like that. Yeah, whether we did it for the show or just sitting around people playing. It would actually be nice to play a game for once and not have to worry about recording it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know Conrad, one of the other Shattered developers, has been running play-by-post for 40K Only War.
Yes.
And weren't you supposed to be joining that?
I was supposed to be joining that, and then my entire life blew up, and I was like, I don't know if I want to kind of like. It basically became one of those things where I knew it would probably be like a therapeutic outlet for me, but at the same time, it also became like an anxiety thing where I'm like, okay, I know I owe Conrad, and not Degecast Conrad, Degetime Conrad, but Shattered Conrad.
Yeah.
I know I owed Conrad like a character and backstory and all this stuff, and I was like in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just kind of sit out for right now. You guys carry on, but I will be joining that play-by-post at some point in the near future.
The door is always open, and Conrad is one of the best GMs I've ever played with.
It must be something in the name.
And yeah, it must be. All the Conrads are just really good at it. And I have I remember when we started that, and it was like, God, this is gonna sound really weird. But it was like the excitedness and the giddiness of like diving into this game, because this is my first play-by-post ever. And I've been playing, on digital tabletops and in person for years, but I've never done a play-by-post.
I've never done one either.
And I'm such a story-inspired person where, I don't care as much about the die system or the mechanics or being, the best murder hobo I can possibly be. I care about, I want a backstory. I play the character, I really get in their heads. And it is a little harder to do that at the table because the table is just a different experience. You're obviously socializing, you open up a few beers. It's a good time with your friends. It's a very different thing. But in play-by-post, it was like I was really getting into this character. And it was like, it was like when I realized I was I was going to have a girlfriend when I was in high school. Like there's nothing like it. If you haven't tried play-by-post, definitely give it a shot. It's fantastic.
All right, guys, thank you once again to Zip for sitting down with me tonight, and thank you all for listening to the Degecast. Again, I'm your host, Nate Lindberg, and you can find me on Twitter at Nate Lindberg. And, I hope that me and Zip kind of being able to sit down tonight and freely talk about some of the things that are going on in our lives, some of the things that are bothering us will, kind of allow you guys to, open up a little bit yourselves. I know sometimes mental health and especially the bad things aren't always easy to talk about, easy to discuss, and easy to really just face on your own. So I know they certainly aren't for me. So that's part of the reason why I kind of wanted to open up a little bit tonight and talk a little bit about that stuff, because, hey, you know what? If my struggles can help somebody else out, well, I'm all for it. If I can just help one person, then all of this is worth it. Guys, this has been another episode of the Degecast. We will see you next time, where we'll be talking with Kids on Bikes creator, Doug Lewandowski. We'll see you then, guys.